Hello and welcome to Will's World. In this episode, I'm going to be talking you through how I pack my backpack for hiking trips. Will's World. The pack I've been using recently is this, the Gregory Optic 48. Before I go into how to actually pack a bag, I just want to talk a little bit about how I gather together my kit. So most people they'll create a checklist and they'll tick things off as they go. My approach, I prefer to gather everything together by situation. So I think, right, what do I need for sleeping comfortably? And I'll get together my sleeping bag, my sleeping mat, and maybe a pillow. Okay, what do I need for eating? I'll gather together my pots and pans, a lighter, a fork. What do I need to protect myself from wet weather? I'll gather everything together, situation by situation, and then load it up after that. That way I find I never miss anything out. Right, I got a whole load of mess here. How am I going to sort it out? The answer lies in dry bags. Now, I'm a big fan of these waterproof ones by Exped. And the thing is, I never use a waterproof rain cover on my backpack. I've just had terrible experiences with them where they've blown off or they've leaked or I found a puddle at the bottom of them. So I've got rid of my waterproof rain cover, got rid of the weight of it, and swapped it for waterproof dry bags. They're just so much more efficient. There we go. Much better, much more organized, much more tidy, and actually looks like I've got much less stuff than I had before. First thing that goes in is my tent, the Exped Mirror 2. You can see it up on the screen there. That's from my last trip in the Brecon Beacons. So I put this in lengthways, put it right down the bottom to the side, follow that with the sleeping mat, down at the bottom as well, and the sleeping bag. Make sure you're using up as much space down there as you can. The reason that stuff goes at the bottom, particularly the sleeping bag, is it provides a kind of bit of shock absorption to the bag. When you put it down, it's not going to damage any of the other stuff in your rucksack. Okay, so after the sleeping stuff, then I would put in the heavy, bulky, hard stuff, like my stove, pots and pans, knife and fork, and gas. And keep that as close to your back as possible. It's heavy, so you want it close to your back, not falling off you and pulling your back from behind. Then I'll get my clothes and my food, which I normally keep together. Don't ask me why. Oh my God, this jacket is hot. Occasionally, I like to keep things like my down jacket or my waterproof on the front in this squeezy pocket here, which makes it even easier to grab. These ones, this will be my items for nighttime. That sounds dodgy. This one will be my items for the daytime. So in this one, I've got a book, I've got any kind of medication or a first aid kit, that kind of stuff. So stuff I'll need in my tent. And then in this one, I've got things like my wallet, my power packs, stuff that while I'm hiking, I'll need as I'm going. The stuff for the nighttime, sometimes I'll put this in the top here, or I'll put it in the top lid, or I'll put it in one of the side pockets. Stuff for the daytime, I will put that in the top lid or in one of the side pockets where I can grab them quickly. What about your water on the trail? Well, I will never carry bottled water these days. It's just, to me, it's unnecessary weight. When you can have something like this, which is the Katadyn BeFree, it's a water filter that filters out bacteria, protozoa, and bits of dirt. To me, I just don't need to be carrying litres and litres of water when that is all I need. That will do the job for me. So I will stick that usually in the side here. So while I'm on the go, and this is the handy thing about this bag, I can just reach down and pull it out from the side without having to take my bag off. If you are going to stick loads of things in the side pockets, like snacks or your waterproof jacket, or if you are carrying bottles of water, just make sure that you're balanced out on either side and you haven't got one side pulling you down to the left or the other one pulling down to the right. Just balance things out if you can. So those are just my guidelines. That's the way I do things. Don't necessarily have to stick to that. That's just the order I developed, and hopefully you'll find that useful. But there are a couple of principles that I stick to, and that is, first of all, keep things organized, keep things where you know they're going to be. Layer in terms of urgency as well. And finally, what's my final point? And finally, make sure that you've got the weight evenly distributed, so not leaning to one side or pulling you off the back. So I'm keen to know your thoughts on my system. Some people might find it a little bit eccentric, some people might find it a little bit basic. It works for me. So if you've got any suggestions or any different ways you think people should be doing things, just stick it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll catch you next week for another episode of Will's World.